Winston Peters and David Seymour, both are 100% correct. When it comes to the Treaty of Waitangi, both Winston Peters and David Seymour are 100% correct. Winston Peters, he says that there are no treaty principles and he's 100% correct. There are 3 articles, and without getting too repetitive, Maori ceded everything to the Crown. There are absolutely no treaty principles, and there have never been any treaty principles since the document was signed in 1840. This is a fact, end of story. The only people who dispute this fact today are the gravy train milkers on the vote harvesting trail. Racist MPs from Labour, Green, and Te Pati Maori, racist Waitangi Tribunal, or several racist woke education departments in universities. These people should all be ignored, if not fired, abolished, or even prosecuted for disturbing the peace and inciting violence. All members in the Waitangi Tribunal are unelected officials, yet in their racist arrogant ways, they frequently try to overrule the democratically elected government's actions. The Waitangi Tribunal clearly needs to be abolished. They are well past their use-by date, and the integrity of some of their activist members is at best questionable. Since 1975 onwards, these racist MPs and the Waitangi Tribunal have done a lot of damage to New Zealand, by creating fantasy treaty principles to suit their narratives at the time. This of course is just make-believe divisive political stupidity, but it works well for racists and gravy train milkers. So, the solution is simple. Acknowledge that there are no treaty principles, and remove every single reference to the treaty principles in New Zealand law and legislation, past, present, and future, for all time. Partnership. The Waitangi Tribunal, obviously realizing some time ago that they were skating on thin ice regarding the treaty principles prank, they created yet another fantasy scenario as a backup. So they could keep milking the gravy train. They called this partnership with the Crown. This nonsensical partnership creation actually borders on complete lunacy, if you take 20 seconds to think about it. Apart from the fact, as Sir Winston Peters has said many times, the British Crown didn't have any partnerships in 1840, so how did Maori suddenly end up having one the day after signing the treaty? Of course Maori never had any partnership of the kind. The idea is nothing more than a modern idea dreamed up by the Waitangi Tribunal to keep milking the gravy train, but it probably sounds good at first glance to the uninformed. Common sense also dictates that there was never any partnership with Maori and the Crown. The British invasion of New Zealand could have gone one of 2 ways. 1. The British kill off all of New Zealand's inhabitants, with the winner taking all. 2. The British offer a peaceful treaty to Maori if they completely cede sovereignty in return for Maori's lives not only being saved, they would have same rights as British subjects. Back in the 1840s, the British were relatively civilized, intelligent, and educated. The Maori on the other hand were uneducated, brutal, violent, warring savage cannibals, who not only murdered their neighbors and children, they ate them as well. Tell me with a straight face that the British would want to enter into a partnership with such brutally savage people? The idea is farcical nonsense, and has been solely dreamed up by the Waitangi Tribunal in order to keep lining their pockets and rich elite away from the gravy train. The idea is utterly preposterous, and all references to the partnership scam should be removed from New Zealand law and legislation immediately. David Seymour. He says we should define what the treaty principles are by law, and he is 100% correct, because there have been so many fantasy red herrings regarding the treaty principles and also partnership, falsely created by the Waitangi Tribunal since 1975. The best solution may simply be to define the principles properly by public debate and subsequent referendum, then simply make them unchangeable and legally binding forever. No big deal, good move. We either have treaty principles or we don't. If we don't, remove all references to them from law, and if we do, then simply define them. The partnership idea remains a Waitangi Tribunal scam job, and should be written off. Thank you for listening. Geraint, on behalf of Whanerate him.